Oops. Yeah, this is right around the time of night, but I'm sure I've done these at other times at this time of night. I think I have, although I don't remember very often saying, can't roll on, gotta have dinner. Now, tonight is a great example of where I'm not exactly ready to eat yet, but I probably will eat in the next 20 or 30 minutes because then I have something else coming up, and then it's too late, and quite honestly, going to be close to bedtime. um, but I just wanted to. My sinuses are a little bit iffy. My throat's a little bit iffy. I'm going to be having some hot food soon, and I'm having coffee, although it seemed quite sweet, but it should be all the sugar I put in it. um, I just wanted to do a quick video though, and I need to keep my voice tonight, because I don't really want to put. I mean, I'd like to just check it off. I didn't exactly have a busy day, and I'm likely to podcast. I very very likely am going to podcast tomorrow. So, probably early in the day, like I did today. So, I can't say I'm going to necessarily feel any better with my throat, and my sinuses. So, best just to, you know, um, do my appointment that I have tonight, see how that goes, and go from there. So, I just wanted to do a quick video with a couple of questions. Um, or well, one's a question, um, which what I might be tempted to say is that um, I would almost prefer to talk more about it tomorrow at about 9:30 Central Standard Time. Uh, and if Kathleen sees this, because we're not at the same time as Edmonton, we're also not right in Edmonton. We're close, but we're not. So anyway, so yeah, so we're the Central Standard Time zone, kind of right on that line. So yeah, I kind of. This isn't necessarily one that I want to talk about in the comment section. Usually, I don't mind. I mean, can't say 100% what people are going to say about anything, but with this topic, because this is a channel that both me and the other person in the house use, although primarily me, I just don't want anything to necessarily get triggered or I don't want it to be uncomfortable for the other person. So what I'm thinking is I guess what I'm doing then is I'm saying what tomorrow's topics are going to be. Um, just let me let the dog in, just because I know that's kind of noisy. What tomorrow? I guess yeah. Well, no, they should be well done. Even though they're 19th, they're around that thing. And that's kind of what inspired it, amongst things. But yeah, so tomorrow's topic is going to be one, depression. Two, okay, did you hear that? Come on, see, baby. I was talking to the dog. He saw I had the chew stick. I was preferred to give it to him when we had our dinner, but he'll have his dinner and it'll be fine. But I said, depression, you're looking at it. Kind of came out kind of funny, but I mean, I do have it. So, and a lot of us do. So, I mean, we do what we can for each other to kind of lift those feelings and feel better. Any of us can do it. Um, but so that's one thing. The other thing I want to talk about, and honestly, I guess I would say the same about both topics. Again, if you want to comment things that are already posted underneath, like I say, most of the time, you know, things are not all that deep. I guess that's what it is. But otherwise, this is for the live, and because I'm not going to roll very long tonight, more likely to get into the topics uh, deeper tomorrow. So, yeah, depression. So, start thinking about what you might want to talk about that. Again, 9 or 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Nenji, if you see this, I think in your video that we were watching, when I said that, you were saying, okay, that's 5 or 6 your time, not too bad, which, I mean, unless you're like us and you often eat late, would be dinner hour, but It's not 5 or 6 your time. In the UK, it should be about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, which I would think would work, mostly better for you anyway, because you know, uh, I get the impression, I could be wrong, that your partner and your works during the day and your kids are at school, so um, you have the time to yourself. I don't know what impression I was. I get the impression they're kind of around, and she podcasting and this other friend of mine. But yeah, so the other topic is kind of an interesting one. Not that you know, not that the other one maybe doesn't have interesting aspects. I feel like that's the wrong word to use. But the other one that I want to talk about is for anybody that has a step parent, especially ones that, and you may or may not have watched the video I did earlier. I talked a little bit about, but especially ones that are not necessarily ideal or not better than your actual biological parent. Um, yeah, so basically, think on that a little bit. Maybe type some stuff out for to have ready on those topics if you don't want to hold it in your head, or just say I'll wait until then and jump into the topic with it. So I'm doing it this way, but it's the way it makes sense tonight. But yeah, so basically, the inspiration for that topic was kind of interesting, and I kind of was already kind of going. So I don't know whether it'll um, come up in conversation with who I'm talking to tonight. I think it was not too loud. But yeah, I miss Brenton. I miss Margaret more than I miss. Yeah, but I mean, we'll get to know her, and I don't know. I mean, it'd be an awkward connection to have, perhaps, because so much for not hearing my voice. I was gonna watch back one of my videos, and I decided I don't need shit before my meeting tonight. But I'll make one, I guess. um, because when they're connected to fairly closely to like a parent, a particular person, especially if you don't have a super tight relationship with that parent, but maybe they have a fairly good relationship, it's a bit awkward. But as far as step parents, yes, basically the inspiration came from there was a couple and they had a son. I think they had a daughter too, but she was a bit older. Yes, Vanessa. How I remember that, because it's many, many years ago, I don't know, but I do, I think. Anyway, they had a son that was a few years younger than me, and I knew them in my 20s. We just moved here after high school graduation. I guess, well, because my mother grew up. I'm not going to say where that is. And I think that one of my parents worked with one of them. Um, and when we moved here, again, I won't say where here is, but when we moved here, we saw them fairly often. In fact, one thing that we kind of did that was kind of interesting is we house sat for them, and they had a nice golden retriever dog, and we watched the dog. We stayed at the house. I don't know where they were, and so that's a pretty good connection if somebody trusts you to do that. Um, and I don't remember seeing this family often, but we certainly saw each other more often than we do now. Um, and my mother had said that she thought that they suddenly disliked the fact that she was a widow. I don't know if that's accurate or if um, if this is just how she interpreted it. Maybe they said, maybe it was something to the effect of, he's been gone a number of years. Maybe you should try and find someone. And she maybe took it as a judgment because I could see her doing that, to be honest. And someone who she's with, her sister kind of did similar with who she's with, was someone that she dated in the 80s. He said he was a bonehead then. I think he still has his moments, that's for sure. And again, I had some really nice thoughts about him earlier, and I do feel them mostly. But that being said, I mean, I also kind of feel like, you know, she maybe could have found better. I mean, nobody will replace my dad, and they don't spend a lot of time on YouTube. Other family, they might, but you know what? It's not uncommon for somebody to, and this is a digital age, classmates will go on live streaming, and I don't know what I just did with the thing, by the way. Okay, it must be out there, I guess. Um, but it's not uncommon necessarily for someone to have sometimes it's just that, the feeling of either that the step parent is trying to replace the parent, or it just feels like they are, or they actually are trying to. And sometimes they kind of like they're because the other parent isn't around or whatever. In my case, passed away. You know what I mean? So, um, there was a bit of retention I noticed. It didn't stick, but maybe I'm not expressing this very well. Anyway, point of the matter being is, I thought to myself, and the radio's kind of loud, so I better stop soon. And when I'm talking, I don't think it's that noticeable, but I should wrap up and finish making dinner soon. But, so basically, it led me to thinking, well, she could have probably found, I mean, I hate to say it earlier, a partner, but she's not a terrible one. I mean, she's my mother. I'm not going to think too much into this, but you know, she 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 has her good qualities. This is true, and so, um, and I guess he does too. But it got me thinking, like I lost my dad so young, and he was a workaholic, better than some other kind of aholic, I guess, but still, that's difficult. And also, um, let's see, what W's and extracurricular activities in school, though he helped out in the school sometimes. But it was kind of like, it got me kind of thinking, you know, what would my ideal stepfather look like? Like, I guess I don't really, I've had the stepfather for 12 years, I think, ish. But I guess I don't really have any certain expectations. But if I thought about it, maybe I do. And maybe you could think of some. Whether you have one or if you were to have one. So, again, you know, either don't think much about it or make some notes and come back tomorrow when I'm live, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard, and let's talk about it, because I don't mean to be crossing my arms and giving off a certain impression, because I'd be very curious to hear what people think about that. Um, what their responses would be. I mean, I'm often curious to hear what people have to say, and as long as it's, kind. But the only other thing that I'll say is that for anybody that saw the videos, I think it was last night, or, yeah, early AM actually, it was a rare one at that time of day, who saw that and saw my messages, and I don't, actually, no, that one's still there, and I should let Leanne know that. Leanne, if you see this, it's the 30-something minute one. Most of them are longer than that, that's true. This one's going to be shorter than both of those, but anyway. You said you believe in the afterlife, so hopefully you will accept what I'm talking about there. I don't know why he's being so noisy. I don't think we have plows because we haven't got snow today. We do have snow, but not new snow. Anyway, but yeah, basically what she kind of hoped for me, I didn't really sense her at all, but it was very relaxing. For the most, I'm still not hungry. I'm tired more than anything. I almost don't, you know what, I'm almost telling him, I almost want to tell him, why don't you do what you're doing, and would you mind if we eat at 9 instead? Although, unfortunately, I put his chicken fingers in, because I don't really like that brand, and I don't really like chicken that much, actually, to be honest. So true enough, I put those in, and he's particular. I mean, they don't reheat very well. That is true. So I'll have a little, and hopefully not be too bloated for my phone call. And that's gonna tire me out for the rest of the night. So, um, but yeah. So basically, since I'm already low energy, but yeah. So basically, what she'd hoped for me, and I'm thinking of Lex a little bit too, um, kind of happened. And although it was very brief, and I made a post about this, a non-video post, I ran into somebody I was kind of familiar with, and then right after that, kind of coming up that street, we were at the corner, and I had already crossed the street, and we'd kind of parted ways. Was somebody with a last dog again? People have those. I don't see that kind of dog very often either, actually. Um, and somebody with an Airedale, and I haven't seen those since I was a teenager. And I thought they were a German breed, but apparently they're Scottish. Anyway, so and that all happened within like a very, within like minutes. Seeing those two dogs and seeing that friend. But otherwise, I mean, it was enjoyable, and it otherwise, the store I was at was a little busy, but not that much so, and it was a decent, and the weather wasn't too yucky, which I knew it wouldn't be. That's why I was doing it today. It was a decent um, experience. Like I wasn't overwhelmed or overstimulated. So thanks, Reba, and the Angels had anything to do with that. It was interesting to see how that kind of happened that way. Anywho, so we'll see you all tomorrow. Well, anybody that sees this that wants to. Um, that I'll also state, although I have these two topic ideas, um, I will, one, likely wait till there's people tuning in to get into them, to get into the topics, and two, I'm also open to talking about other things in that video. I'm very diverse, and I certainly am not going to have the rule stay on topic because I don't really do that. I jump around a little bit, ADHD style. So, if those topics don't interest you and you just want to chat about something else, need support about something, just want to chat, want to hear music covers, we'll see you at that time and we'll do all of that good stuff, okay? Hope everybody's doing well. Season's greetings, however you wish to say it. And somebody just tuned in, of course. But yeah, I hope everybody, is managing at least decently during this time of year, whether you celebrate or not. And we'll talk to you later, okay? Bye for now. Much love. Kindness. I understand much love may sound a little weird to strangers, but I just mean I'm sending good thoughts. And yeah, okay, bye for now.